In today's Leeds news, fixtures released, Sky Sports Leeds decision, pre-season announcement, Leeds make contact with free agent, and Leeds chase Ghanaian. Morning folks, Jer here, Wednesday morning 26th of June with your Leeds United news. Hope you're all having a great week so far. We've got a bit of stuff to cover. There will be a live stream tonight with Andrew Stats Dalton to look at the fixtures that have just been released in slightly more detail. We'll cover the basics today in the news, and then we'll talk later on with Andrew about the upcoming season. We also saw a glimpse of the smiley badge make a return on the fixture list that was put out by the club earlier this morning. I don't think it'll be as big a deal as people think. I think if Leeds have a yellow kit, I think the smiley badge might appear on the yellow kit, but I expect it to be on the back of the shirt, and I expect this badge to continue next season, as it's also featured quite prominently in the fixtures, which we'll see on screen now in a couple of seconds. Anyway, but we'll crack on and we'll get into this. We'll just start off with one a week. If you like the channel, if you want to help support it, heading towards 36,000 subscribers, you can help the channel to grow. You can help me have something to do by liking the channel, liking videos, or subscribing to the channel. We'll crack on. Let's get into this and we'll move on with the fixtures. And this morning we saw the release of the fixtures for the new season, and I suppose now the new season kicks off right now with this coming out. On paper, Leeds United appear to have a slightly easier start to the season and finish to the season compared to last year when we had that home game at Southampton to look forward to, and the uncertainty around Leeds' position in the first month of the season last year. Leeds will kick off their campaign at home to newly promoted to the Championship side Portsmouth, two former Premier League teams in their own right, two big sides in their own right, with Portsmouth being FA Cup winners under Harry Redknapp. The opening month sees Leeds at home to Portsmouth, but then have back-to-back away games at West Brom and Sheffield Wednesday before heading back to Ellen Road for the last game of the month against Hull City. Two Yorkshire derbies in the first month of this season for now, but right now it's an interesting start to the season, but we'll get into if you get into a bit more detail later on. But if you look at it, September, October looks to be the tricky enough spell, and then again in February there's some repetition of the games in October, which could be slightly tricky. But again, you're just looking at it on paper and seeing what teams you reckon are going to be good this year. I don't think anyone saw Ipswich doing what they did last season, so it can be misleading. You know, you'll have Derby coming into it as well with a bit of momentum, Portsmouth a bit of momentum coming up to the division, and then you've got Sheffield United and Burnley coming down. It remains to be seen what condition they will be in when the season kicks off, but we'll see how that one goes. But on the fixtures and on Sky, moving things around, there is an updated information around the Sky TV deal that was announced. According to The Athletic, Sky Sports will broadcast less Leeds United games next season, despite the EFL new deal with Sky that would see more Championship games televised than ever before. The EFL's new TV deal is estimated to be worth around about £935 million as a rights deal. And as part of that deal, the EFL have promised more parity in terms of TV coverage for all clubs in the division. It's now committed to a minimum amount of games, and every single side can expect to see themselves on TV at least 20 times next season. Leeds were televised 33 times last season. However, this year the Championship team will only be selected for a maximum of 24 games for TV coverage, and that remains to be seen. Somebody bookmark this and remind me at the end of the season. We'll come back and see if that actually happened. But there's apparently a minimum of 20 and a maximum of 24 games that will be televised by Sky around teams next season. The television product itself is also said to be getting a slight improvement, with more cameras around the game to give more angles and better quality of coverage for matches next season. So we'll see how that goes when we're going down to smaller grounds than Oxford and people at places like that, and what that kind of actually looks like. But more cameras at the games, more angles for coverage. We'll see if it's better. Still no VAR in the Championship, which is a good thing for us for next season at least. Anyway, moving on to some more pre-season information. Yesterday, Leeds United announced information about the pre-season tour, which hasn't gone over particularly well just at the moment. Leeds announced that they will head to Germany as part of their pre-season tour. They have confirmed a away game against Harrogate as our first game of the pre-season campaign, which will kick off in a couple of weeks, and our final game against Valencia in Ellen Road, which will be a 3 o'clock kick-off in Ellen Road, which is standard enough for the last game of pre-season. But in the middle, it will be a trip to Germany. Leeds fans, however, have been asked to not travel to games, and all matches in this tour will be played behind closed doors. Leeds have said that they have exhausted all avenues to try and make this happen so that fans could travel to the games, but the over-policing at the Euros is believed to be the reason for this decision, with the resources not being made available once the Euros finish. Obviously, there's overtime for police in the Euros at the moment. There will be some time off for people obviously needed before the start of the Bundesliga season as well. So that is being labelled as the reason behind the call for fans to not travel and all games being played behind closed doors. But Leeds themselves have said that they are currently in talks with all parties around the possibility of streaming all of the games back onto their platforms for the pre-season campaign. So if we can't get there live to see the games, which is always a disappointment, the Leeds away travelling support is always phenomenal, but their pre-season tour group are fantastic as well. I'm always hopeful they'll come back to Ireland at some point. But yeah, it's a strange one. It's an unlucky one. But hopefully we'll at least get to see the games on LUTV, which they usually do most seasons anyway. There's some form of a pack that goes out with games. So it's always been possible to see them. But moving on to some rumour mill territory and some potential incomings. And according to HITC Sports, so take this with a hefty pinch of salt, they are saying that Leeds are amongst several clubs reportedly interested in Tottenham Hotspur's out of contract fullback Ryan Sessegnon. The 24-year-old will become a free agent on June 30th, and Leeds are said to be amongst other clubs that have already made contact with the player's agent. Sessegnon has struggled with injuries since he went to Tottenham 4 years ago from Fulham, and only managed to play one Premier League game last season, but that doesn't appear to have put off a massive host of clubs who are said to be interested in the player. West Ham, Rangers, Fulham, Fenerbahce, Monza, Real Betis, Como, Atlanta, and that other club from Turkey are also said to be interested in Ryan Sessegnon, and are all said to have made contact with the player's agent to find out what the situation and the player's preferences are coming into the summer. As I said, Sessegnon played one Premier League match last season, and given the clubs that are interested in him and the sources, I would be surprised if Leeds ended up with Ryan Sessegnon or ended up in concrete talks with the player around the move. I think Leeds are probably just having a look at seeing what's out there and what players' options are. They are being linked with them, but again, you're going to see this over the next couple of weeks. It's a very easy link. Leeds need a left back, at least a cover for left back, and with Junior Firpo's situation still not ironed out. Leeds will also need full back on the right hand side as well. So you probably get a lot of uncontracted players now, agents speaking up about potential moves and labelling Leeds as an interested party, which, you know, looking at the clubs that are interested, they don't need to name Leeds in this situation, but they have done, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. But I would be surprised. I'd be very surprised. His injury record's not been great over the last couple of years, but at some point it's going to clear up, and he's a very good footballer. I'll have to wait and see. And then moving on to the final story of today, and this is also in the rumour mill territory, and this relates to Leeds being interested in a Ghanaian player playing in the Norwegian League, according to a report in Sports World Ghana. So again, pinch of salt on this one. Leeds have been linked with interest in 18-year-old Ghanaian Edmund Baido. Baido is currently playing for Norway side Sognal Football in the second tier of the Norwegian League. He's played 17 games for the club. He scored 8 goals and has 6 assists during his time at the club, and is very much seen as a player for the future. Leeds United and Brighton and Hove Albion are said to be the two clubs monitoring the situation right now, although the report does state that right now it's only interest from both teams and no approaches have been made to players, agent or club just yet. Brighton are labelled as a favourite for this, given their Premier League status, and also have a very good track record of developing young players and giving young players opportunities to play in the team. But Leeds have a very good track record of young players as well. The player himself, Baidu, according to Transfer Market, he is rated at about €1.2 million, so about anything between £500,000 to £750,000. 18 years of age, plays on the right wing, good attacking player. And I put a link down below in the description. You'll see there a clip that will link you to some of his highlights. But it's a YouTube highlight reel, so bear in mind they'll only show you the things that he did well and not the other stuff. Not that I've seen the other stuff, I haven't, but just, you know, for context. I would take everything just with a grain of salt right now. We're still not into the proper territory. We would expect things to kick off in the next 4 or 5 days properly. Leeds are still expected to have a very busy window in July. Could be a very busy period for the club. Let me know down below what you think of the fixtures. What's the standout one for you? What part of the season are you a little bit worried about? What kind of a start do you think Leeds are going to have? It'd be an interesting one, and we can get into a chat down below in the comments. I'll be back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news, and back with a live stream tonight with Andrew Dalton to review the fixtures in more detail. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.